What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 9 of S Version. We are on 9. Holy shit. I'm back at Thunderhill West with Turn 8, although today we're doing a Turn 8 Flash. So it's going to be 6 hours of just open pit, no run groups, open passing. And then at lunchtime, they're gonna switch the track from counterclockwise to clockwise. So it's gonna be my first time driving this track clockwise ever. So I'm pretty excited for that. And then I have some S2000 homies. I have a friend that is bringing his AP1 out, and it's slightly modified. So you know, it'll be as good of a AP1, AP2 comparison that I can get for the time being. So that's gonna be really interesting. And yeah, I just got done with my first session. I spun out. Can't wait to show you that, but I PB'd already. So I already beat my last PB in the S2000, and I also beat my overall PB in my Honda Fit. So I went from a 133.8 to a 132.8. So, and that was just in the first session. So we'll see what else I can cook. Peace out. First session of the day. Can't wait for you guys to see at that moment the PB of the day, which was a 132 and change. But yeah, so I haven't really disclosed that I never got the car aligned when I bought it last year in September, or I never even got an alignment when I bought new tires for the car as well, which is extremely negligent on my part, I'll admit that. But right before this track day, Cedric, he did my alignment, and I don't remember off the top of my head, but the alignment that I had wasn't really that good. I had like a really bad toe on the rear, and then the front, I think I was running positive camber, which is no good. And it makes sense because I was using up the shoulder of the tire. The front tire is really bad. But yeah, so Cedric got me right. We just pretty much did like an OEM alignment, just as a baseline, and then we'll kind of go from there. But right now I'm pretty much rocking that same like OEM alignment, so everything's pretty much up to the factory spec. And yeah, it's crazy, like just the difference. I'm kind of driving like an idiot right now, so I don't think it's that apparent. But once I kind of calm down a little, I think you'll see that there's a really big difference in speed. Yeah, just literally just off an alignment, I went from like a 135 and change to a 132 in the first session of the day. So that's pretty nuts, for an alignment. Like I mean, I guess I'm okay at driving the car, but that's pretty nuts. Like an alignment is really important, like an alignment pretty much shaved 2-3 seconds, off my time. Get your car's alignment done. And that concludes my first run of the day. I got overzealous, spun out, and yeah, the car stalled. I guess the starter got too hot. I don't know if I should replace it, or I don't know. I'll deal with that later. But yeah, got the black flag. It's pretty obvious what happened. So I just kind of spin around the track, pit in, and then atone for my sins.
I know, man. I beat me. I know, but I'm gonna take a break though. All right, let me just give you a second. Okay.
Walking away with for the day, 131.679. I felt like I could have shaved down more time and possibly got into the 130s because I took my friend Andrew out for a ride, and he gave me some pretty good advice on how to kind of clean up the driving. It's mainly just addressing my sawing, or like just constantly putting steering inputs mid-corner for pretty much no reason. So yeah, I cleaned that up a lot. Although the session after this, I didn't do any better than this, and then the session after, that's when I gave Andrew the ride, and after that they had to reconfigure the course layout for the clockwise layout. So yeah, unfortunately I couldn't get another crack at it now that I kind of cleaned up the driving. But either way, it was still very meaningful, and I got to apply, all that advice to the clockwise layout, which I think helped a lot. But yeah, either way, super happy. much off an alignment and maybe like just a track day of experience here. You know, so I'm pretty impressed with myself, if I'm being honest. So third run of the day, I hit it out with my friends Cedric and Jeremy, both in S2000s. Jeremy has an AP2V1 like me, and Cedric is in the AP1. And I don't want to dox their setups or whatever, but Jeremy is a lot more modified than me and Cedric. I will just leave it at him having Bridgestone RE71 RZs, while me and Cedric are on Firestone 8500s. So anyways, yeah, this is a pretty short session. It's just all of us mobbing around the track together. So it's just going to be a lot of little funny moments here and there, overtakes, and getting overtaken. But it was a good time. Unfortunately, I couldn't, shave off any more time than my 131 and change in my previous session or run. I don't know really how to say this because it's a open pit day, but yeah, it was just a fun session. And then the next one, I have footage of not only me driving but also Cedric driving in that same session, so that's gonna be really cool.
right, and this is my last session before the track gets reconfigured to the clockwise layout. And I have Andrew with me. He also gave me a ride in his BMW after this as well. So that was really cool. He gave me some great pointers that I really learned a lot from, and I think I did a pretty good job at kind of showcasing what he was, criticizing about my driving. So I'll elaborate on that as court progresses. But it was a fun time. I didn't get any quicker in the session, but that's okay. It was really just me trying to learn how to apply, what he's told me, and just apply it to my driving. That way, next time around when it's just me in the car, I can really push it and try to shave off some time. But yeah, right now I'm just chasing Jeremy right now. The difference in grip is crazy, but it's still fun trying to keep him in my sights. But he definitely pulls away though. But yeah, just some little flybys here and there. His big critique on my driving was, he mainly said it was 2 corners. I can't remember the second corner, but the first one is pretty much turn 2. I saw at the wheel a lot, like I said earlier, I'm just kind of putting in a bunch of steering inputs for pretty much no reason. I'm just scrubbing my tires more or less, which is, it's not good, it's not necessary, and I do it anyways, and that's just not good. So he told me to smooth it out, and I was just kind of working on that whole session, and I think I dialed a lot of it out. And then when the course got reconfigured, I noticed that I can kind of, well, for some corners at least, I can just kind of set the steering angle and then hold that steering angle for the most part. Sometimes you got to make some little minor corrections, but just set the steering angle and then use maintenance throttle to kind of hold the line. So that's kind of what I figured out later on in the day, and it all kind of stems from this session that Andrew did with me. So that was really cool. Huge shout out to Andrew. He's extremely fast on this track. It's crazy. So right now, I'm just chasing this Lotus down, and then that'll be the end of the run. I had set up a GoPro in Cedric's car because he forgot his camera, I think. So that, and also I just really wanted to have someone driving an AP1 in one of my videos. And luckily, he's not too far from stock. It's mainly just the suspension. His car's pretty dumb, if I'm being honest. And it's a huge difference, especially because I took a ride with him later in the day, and the difference in height, the way it just changes the car's characteristics, it's night and day. But anyways, chasing down this Lotus, Drew gave me the point by, and then I get called into the pits over a black flag, and it turns out it's because of Andrew's helmet. Something about the visor, they were making a big deal about it, and you'll see it come up in Cedric's POV as well. So that was pretty new. I don't know if it's just a roadster thing or that's just how it is now with like track regulations. There's Cedric. Hi, Cedric. Yeah, I think I just think it's like a roadster thing because just the chances of you catching debris in the face is probably a lot more likely in a roadster as opposed to like a car with the with the roof. So yeah.
You gotta put the visor down or something. So yeah, just put the visor down when you're out there, okay? Alright.
How long have you had the car for?
A few months.
Oh, okay, so you're still pretty much new to it.
Yeah.
Holy shit, okay.
I've done 3 track days so far.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, 3.5 because I had to leave early in one of them. So.
You said you did East, right?
Yeah, I've done more East days than
West, yeah. Yeah, of course. How do you feel on East?
I feel better on East. I feel like I struggle on the West because it's more technical. So
Yeah.
it feels like my fuck ups there.
Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, and like East is a lot more straights and full throttle corners, or full throttle straights.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do more West because I feel like I can learn more.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, I just think you're getting the rear tires a little too hot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I do? Yeah, that's all it goes.
Car visor.
Oh, this.
Go ahead.
All right. I'm gonna go less throttle then.
Yeah, just give it a little bit of throttle, fill out the car, see how it goes. pull it out and then point it at you. Yeah, he was pointing it at you, so.
It wasn't for you guys. Go
Oh,
ahead,
okay.
go.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
What the fuck?
Good news, I guess.
Yeah, I was so confused. You're just overdriving the car. Get off.
This happened before.
Yeah, no. I don't want you to ruin your day. Yeah, so at least, yeah, I think that's what it is. It's just, you're just overdriving the car over throttle.
Dude, I saw you go off in my review. I was like, no.
Gassing up at the racetrack. I normally don't do this, but you know, due to global conflicts, it's the same amount of money for you to just gas up at the track. So support your local track. Also got the homie Cedric. He did my alignment. Today's PB is sponsored by Cedric's Auto Works.
The fucking goat, you know
Hell
what I'm
yeah,
saying?
fuck
Shit.
yeah. All right, now we're running it clockwise. Already, this feels illegal. Just the way I'm pitting out into the track. Yeah, it just feels weird. Like, it feels weird, and I feel like, I don't know, something just feels off about this. You know, especially this part where you can like see the cars like just zooming around, and I think it's just some cones pretty much just stopping them from blasting right through and then like T-boning you into oblivion. I pitted out a little too late because they did the first 10 minutes, I think, under yellow. That way everyone can kind of get accustomed to the track and figure out their lines, and then everything kind of moves up into pace. I missed that part, and I actually kind of missed the download meeting for the clockwise layout, so that's kind of my bad. Guys, show up to your meetings. Don't be like me. And then also, I think, I mean, the dude was cool with it. You know, they kind of just gave me a quick rundown about, you know, what's changed and how to pit out and enter the track. Although Cedric told me that he got a lot of shit for missing the meeting. So yeah, bottom line, just go to your meetings. Don't be like me. But yeah, this is it. It feels so weird, but it's fun. It actually feels more like a back road this way, in my opinion. I think because the rhythm is kind of thrown off even more because it's backwards, so it just feels like a back road. I'd also like to mention the shifter that I have. So it is a Pandemic Motorsports shift knob. It is a 3D printed shift knob that my friend Tony produces under the Pandemic Motorsports name. And he just came out with a fresh batch. I picked one up and kind of R&D'ing it for him. We're at least testing it out. And I do have some thoughts. Right off the bat, I felt pretty uncomfortable using this shift knob on the track. I think it's because of the height of the shifter, and this really might just be an issue because, you know, the ergonomics of my car, you know, you're pretty close to the shifter, even in stock form. So when you add like this, like, you know, like cylindrical, like tall one, and that really closes the distance, that, and also I have the phone mount, so it's like, I feel like my hand didn't have enough headroom these shifts. And I don't know, some friends that looked at this footage, you know, prior to me editing it and putting it up, they said I shift much better in this video compared to my other track events. So I don't know, they have a point, but I did feel uncomfortable. And also I think it's a valid criticism because I did end up breaking the shift knob. So luckily it didn't happen at the track. It was a week after this track day. I went to a Honda Fit meet with some homies, and I pulled up to a gas station, put the car from second to first, and I snapped the shift knob in half. So I think the issue is, and I mentioned this to Tony when I told him I broke the shift knob. Because he was curious, right? I told him the design is too tall, and I don't think enough of the shift knob threads into the shifter. So every time you shift, you're basically leveraging half of the shift knob against the other half that is threaded on to the shifter, and I think eventually it just, the material didn't want to hold up, and I snapped it in half. So he's gonna revise it. He actually has revised the design, and I would like to test it. Although I don't think I'll be able to get the newest batch in time for this next track event that I have going up. So yeah, but I will continue to use Pandemic Motorsport shift knobs though, because they're awesome. I love having DIY goodies on my car. It's awesome. Coming up on me. This guy was moving, and he even gave me and Cedric props when we met up in the pits. He said we're getting jiggy with it too, so it's really cool. We're getting noticed as pretty exceptional drivers. I'd like to believe that me and Cedric are like KSK and Ryosuke in Race for except we're brown. We're brown and we have S2000s. Sick. And that guy's fast. Hella fast. So I screwed up. I don't know how, but I put my Insta360 on time-lapse mode or whatever. So yeah, this whole session that I gave Cedric a ride in my car. It's a time lapse, and I can't fix it in post. That's just not how it works. So yeah, just enjoy. Honestly, my S2000 has never looked faster. Enjoy it, guys, because there's no way I'm moving like this ever. I don't care how much I train, and no matter, I don't know, like, this is, yeah, me if I was fast, for real. This was a fun drive too. It was nice having Cedric in the car while I sent it, like, because then I took a ride with him after this. Oh, there you go, I spun out. And then the black flag, and this is when we realized that we were confusing the corner workers. So they were like, "Oh, you're out of strikes, dude." And I'm like, "What do you mean? I only had like one or two. I can't remember, if I'm being honest." But yeah, this is when we realized that they were confusing all of us. See, they're going back and forth. Yeah. This is when me and Cedric realized the black flag strategy, or as I'd like to call it now, the Silverstone scam. Yeah. Oh man, yeah, they got on me because I pitted out and caused a lot of traffic. That was very unsafe, and I got to be more mindful of that, especially because I'm gonna be running a whole day clockwise. So yeah, I need to work on that. But yeah, this was a fun drive. This was a really fun drive. And then I had a lot of fun in Cedric's AP1, which I'm going to show after this. And then that'll be the end of the episode. And yeah, oh man, I'm already like pushing 30-some minutes right now with this episode. This is a lot of footage, a lot of content. And I'm kind of internally debating if this is too much, or I don't know. You know, it's really just my friends that watch these videos right now. There's not too many people that have kind of like just stumbled onto my video and like really said anything about him. I personally feel like these videos are kind of bloated, but at the same time, it's kind of like, well, I mean, it's just me driving my car. Like, what do you expect, you know? So yeah, if any of you guys feel like these videos are too long, just let me know and I'll maybe cut them down a little bit. Just waiting to pit out, I mean, and finally our friend Jeremy passes us up and it's go time. And pretty much immediately I already felt like I was in a completely different car, and the two big reasons for that is literally just the engine and transmission. The AP1 has longer gearing, and it also makes, I think, about 15 foot-pounds less torque than mine. But the AP1 has the 9,000 RPM redline. So it was really weird because, you know, I'm kind of like looking at Cedric's driving, and I'm noticing that in some corners he's like one gear shorter than I am, and I'm just like, what the, you know? That's so weird, you know. And then also, like, I just see that it just doesn't shift sometimes when I would, you know, I'd be up a gear or down a gear already, and I'm just like, dang, this thing just keeps on pulling. You can tell that this car is a little bit more anemic compared to mine. Mainly the VTEC crossover. I think the VTEC crossover in the F22 is a lot more punchy and more aggressive than the F20C. I'm not too sure if that's because I'm running, you know, test pipe with an exhaust, and then Cedric is just, I think, stock airbox and OEM exhaust. Or no, sorry, I think he's got an NVIDIA exhaust. So I'm not too sure, but I feel like the VTEC crossover is a lot more punchy. This is my opinion. Cedric looks a lot more composed when he's driving compared to me. I don't know, I feel like I look aggressive, but then again, Cedric says he drives aggressive, but then, I don't know, he looks a lot more graceful than I do behind the wheel. Especially when it comes to the shifting, you know, he looks very, like, calm, composed, you know, just kind of rows the gears, and then, like, I look like I'm just, you know, ready to grip it and rip it, you know. So it's really cool, you know, seeing someone else's personality behind more or less the same video's gonna end pretty soon. And then after this, I went out one more time, you know, literally in like the last freaking 5 minutes of the day, which was kind of stupid. And then I just had a moment, and that was that.
All right, that concludes episode 9. Today was a good day. Unfortunately, I couldn't figure out Track Addict to get timing for the clockwise configuration of Thunderhill West, but I did a 131.6, so I'm really happy about that. I finally beat my Honda Fit, so you know, now it's all just learning from here. No more being haunted by my old car. May it rest in peace, you know. But yeah, I'll catch you guys at the next one. I got on-grid birthday bash coming up, and then after that, I'm gonna take a break. Oh yeah, I do have an autocross as well, but yeah, this car needs a break, so we'll be back though. Peace.